The movie begins in Conyers, Pennsylvania. In the dense woods, we see a man, Keller Dover, teaching his teenage son, Ralph, to hunt. He shoots a quick prayer and encourages Ralph to take a shot. After successfully hunting a deer, the two of them head back home.
You know the most important thing your granddad ever taught me?
On their way back, Keller tells Ralph about the saying his granddad had, "Be ready," to be the kind of guy who's always preparing for the worst case scenario. He tells his son, "Pray for the best, prepare for the worst." They head home, and there we are introduced to the rest of Keller's family, his wife, Grace, and their 6-year-old daughter, Anna. It's Thanksgiving Day, and the family heads over to a neighboring house to celebrate. We are then introduced to the Birch family, who live a few houses away from the Dovers. Franklin and Nancy Birch live with their kids, Eliza and Joy, and are close friends with Keller and Grace. Their daughter, Joy Birch, is the same age as Anna, and the two of them are best friends. As the adults set everything up for the Thanksgiving dinner, Anna and Joy head out to play. Ralph and Eliza accompany them, as they are too young to be left alone. The kids see an RV and try messing around, but their siblings stop them. As the four of them walk away, someone watches them from the inside of the RV. Back home, they all gather around the table for dinner. The adults chat while the kids play around. After dinner, the girls get restless and ask their parents if they can go to the Dover house to look for Anna's emergency red whistle, which she lost earlier. Things start to go south from here. The girls get permission, and Grace tells them to take Eliza and Ralph with them. Later, when a lot of time has passed, the adults start looking for the girls, but they are nowhere to be found. Keller heads over to the basement and asks Ralph and Eliza about them, but it turns out that the girls never came to get them, and headed out alone. Keller heads towards his house, but finds nothing.
Joy! Anna!
At first, everyone thinks the girls are just playing around, maybe hiding somewhere. But as minutes turn into hours, panic starts to set in. The parents start searching the neighborhood, calling the girls' names, knocking on doors. Nothing. At this moment, Ralph remembers the RV, a creepy, beat-up recreational vehicle that seemed out of place in this nice suburban neighborhood. Worried for the safety of the girls, the three men head out once again. They run to where Ralph saw the RV, but the vehicle is long gone. Not knowing what else to do, Keller informs the police. Meanwhile, we see a man sitting alone in a diner on Thanksgiving, eating dinner. Turns out that his name is Loki, and he is a detective. Loki looks like an intense person with twitching eyes and tattoos. He is famous in his department because he has solved every case that has ever been assigned to him. He soon gets an alert about the RV, and he heads out immediately to investigate. Luckily, he soon spots the RV. But before he can proceed, the driver crashes it into the woods. Loki, with the help of other officers, gets inside the vehicle and captures the driver. But sadly, the girls are not inside the RV. They try to ask the man about the whereabouts of the girls, but he doesn't respond. Sensing the urgency of the situation, Loki quickly dispatches a research team to look for the girls in the woods, but in vain. Later, at the police station, Loki personally interrogates the man, Alex Jones, but he keeps giving vague answers. He becomes confused and agitated and can't provide coherent answers about where he was when the girls disappeared or what he was doing in the RV. His responses are scattered and childlike. He denies kidnapping the girls, but Loki gets a lead that Alex mostly parks his RV behind his aunt's house. Loki heads over to her place, and through her, he learns that Alex has never even heard an aunt. Having lost his parents at the young age of 6, Alex never fully developed. She tells Loki that Alex is a grown-up with the mental capacity of a 10-year-old. After visiting Holly, Alex's aunt, Loki heads over to the forensic team, which gives him the sad news that no evidence was found inside the RV. Still adamant to get some clue, Loki tells the in-charge to send the team to Holly's house in the hopes that they might find something there. Meanwhile, the search team keeps looking in the woods. Keller and Franklin also join them, hoping that they might find their missing daughters. The next day, Loki heads over to the Birch house and finds Nancy devastated. He then heads over to the Dovers and talks with Grace. She thinks that all of this is embarrassing because the girls will soon come out from wherever they are hiding. This conversation hints at the mental state in which she is after losing her daughter. Even though she fails to come up with a reason, for her mental peace, Grace keeps saying that the girls ran away. As she breaks down into tears, Loki promises that he will bring the girls back. The conversation stops when Keller arrives. Loki formally introduces himself and gives them the updates on the case. Keller is heartbroken upon hearing that no evidence has been found yet. Loki also informs them that he doesn't believe Alex to be the culprit, as his mental capacity is not enough to kidnap two girls in broad daylight. Keller can't grasp this theory because everything else points to Alex being the kidnapper, as he also tried to run away. Keller starts losing his mind. His little girl has been missing for hours now, and he's demanding answers that nobody has. He keeps pushing Loki for updates, for leads, for something, anything that might bring Anna home. Loki faces Keller's outburst but stays calm and leaves, saying that he will consider every possibility. Before Loki could drive away, Keller stops him, asking if Alex will remain in custody until the girls are found. Here is where the legal system becomes the enemy in Keller's eyes. Detective Loki explains that without evidence, they can only hold Alex for 48 hours. There's no physical evidence linking him to the girls, no witnesses, nothing concrete. Just the fact that he was in an RV near where the girls were last seen. Keller leaves, begging Loki to keep Alex in custody and do whatever he needs to do. Loki heads over to his office and tries getting one more day to keep Alex in custody, explaining to his superior that Keller is furious. In Keller's mind, Alex being near the scene and acting suspicious is enough. But the law requires actual evidence, not just suspicion, hence they don't get an extension. As the 48 hours tick away, Keller becomes more and more agitated while Loki continues searching for real proof. He goes to every place where Alex was spotted even once. While visiting a priest's house, Loki finds a secret door leading to a basement. There, Loki finds a corpse on the verge of decomposition. He quickly rushes upstairs and gets the priest, Patrick Dunn. At first, Patrick pretends to know nothing, but then confesses that the body is of a man who came to Patrick for a confession, saying that he had unalived 16 children in the past. Hearing this, Patrick wasn't able to contain himself, and since he wasn't able to tell the police, he punished the man himself. Loki takes Patrick in custody and orders some of his men to investigate this. The night turns into day, but the search for the girls doesn't stop. While looking for the girls, Keller gets a call from Grace telling him that the police are releasing Alex, as no concrete evidence was found. Hearing this, Keller leaves Ralph and Franklin and rushes towards the station. Holly comes to get Alex, and even though Loki is frustrated, he follows the law. Alex walks out of the police station as a free man, and Keller watches this scene. This is the breaking point for him. Something fundamental changes in him. He pushes the crowd of reporters aside and gets hold of Alex to confront him. Things take a sharp turn when Alex whispers to Keller that they didn't cry until I left them. That's it. That's all Keller needs to hear. In his mind, Alex just confessed to taking the girls. At this exact time, the police are able to drag away Keller, but in this moment of desperation, he realizes something. That the system he trusted to protect his family has failed. And if he wants his daughter to be saved, he is going to take matters into his own hands.
Think about why would I make this
I'm
up?
not saying that to you. I'm just asking you a couple questions.
Before storming off from the station, Keller tells Loki about what Alex said to him. Later that day, Loki pays a visit to Alex and Holly and inquires about his earlier interaction with Keller. But just like always, Alex denies saying anything to Keller. On the other hand, Keller is restless, and when he sees Grace breaking down, crying like a baby, he decides that it is now or never. He leaves Ralph in charge of the house, saying that he is going out to help the police. Keller drives to Holly's place and stands on lookout. After some time, Alex comes out to walk his dog, but when he sees Keller's car parked in the distance, he tries to strangle the dog with its leash and stops before it dies. With a knowing smile on his face, Alex walks away. singing the same song Anna and Joy used to sing.
Jingle bells, brightly smells, frothy blazing.
Keller seethes in anger and makes up a plan. He grabs Alex right off the street and takes him to an abandoned apartment building that Keller owns through his construction business. It's the perfect place for what Keller has in mind: isolated, soundproof, and completely off the grid. The next day, Keller picks up Franklin from his place and drives them to the building, where the Dover family also used to live in the past. Inside the old building, Franklin is stunned to find Alex, who has been tied up. Seeing this, he tries to calm Keller down, but Keller is beyond reason now. He's convinced that Alex knows where their daughters are, and if the police won't get answers out of him, then Keller will do it himself. Franklin is uncomfortable with his plan and wants to hand over Alex to the police, but his love for his daughter Joy overrides his moral objections. Still, one can see the conflict in his face. He knows this is wrong, but he doesn't know what else to do, and agrees with Keller. Alex is chained up in the bathroom of the abandoned apartment. The young man is terrified and confused, asking why they are doing this to him. Keller's response is simple: tell us where the girls are, and this all stops. Keller begins interrogating Alex, starting with questions but quickly escalating to threats and then to violence. He's convinced that Alex is hiding something, that the young man knows exactly where Anna and Joy are. But Alex maintains his innocence throughout. He keeps saying he doesn't know where the girls are, that he didn't take them. His responses are consistent with someone who genuinely doesn't understand what's happening to him. Franklin participates reluctantly at first, but as the interrogation becomes more violent, he starts to pull back. The moral weight of what they're doing crushes him, but he's too deep in to stop completely. Keller, on the other hand, becomes more convinced of Alex's guilt with each passing moment. In his mind, Alex's refusal to confess is just stubbornness. He can't accept the possibility that he might be torturing an innocent man. While Keller is busy torturing Alex, Detective Loki continues his investigation. He's following up on other leads, interviewing potential witnesses, and slowly building a picture of what might have happened to the girls. One of his investigators informs him that Father Patrick was telling the truth. This opens up a new stream of thoughts inside Loki, and he starts looking into historical missing children cases in the area, searching for patterns that might connect to Anna and Joy's disappearance. He goes to meet the families of the missing children in hopes of finding something. After interviewing everyone, Loki concludes that all these cases have one thing in common: an RV. The day turns into night. Back in the abandoned building, Keller's interrogation of Alex becomes increasingly brutal. 2 days have passed since the girls went missing, and Alex still maintains his innocence, which only makes Keller more desperate and violent. He keeps beating Alex, saying that all he needs is to tell them about the whereabouts of the girls, and everything will stop. Later the same night, the families hold a candlelight vigil for the missing girls. The whole community comes out to show support, but it's clear that hope is starting to fade. It's been 2 days now, and everyone knows that the longer children are missing, the less likely they are to come home alive. Loki also comes to the vigil, and there he spots a suspicious man. Upon seeing Loki looking at him, he tries to flee. Loki runs after him, but he succeeds in escaping. Police release the sketch of the man to the media, encouraging people to inform in case they have seen him somewhere. Franklin hears the news and tries to convince Keller that if Alex was guilty, why would the police be looking for another man? But Keller is sure about what he heard and is convinced that the two were probably working together. Loki finds out from Holly that Alex has been missing, and this raises his suspicions that Alex might be involved, not having a single bit of an idea that he had been captured. Loki then goes through the footage of Alex's interrogation, hoping to find a clue, but in vain. After some time, he gets the news that someone has recognized the mysterious man from the vigil. Turns out that he used to visit a supermarket almost daily, buying stuff in different sizes. Loki gives the cashier his number, telling her to call him if the man visits again. As the 5th day ends, Franklin starts to lose hope. He reaches his breaking point, the guilt eating him alive, that they might be torturing an innocent person. But Keller won't hear it. He's too invested in Alex's guilt to consider alternatives. He goes back home and breaks down in front of Nancy, telling her everything. She requests to see Alex and heads to the building, along with Keller and Franklin. Seeing his broken and bloodied body, Nancy gasps. She begs him to help find her daughter and shows him her stuff. She unchains him, but he pushes her away and tries to escape. Thankfully, Keller and Franklin get there on time and are able to save Nancy and capture Alex.
You untied him? Huh?
As Franklin tries to calm down his wife, Keller locks Alex inside a room where not even light can enter. Not able to take it anymore, Franklin decides to release Alex, but stops when Nancy tells him to think of their daughter. They decide that they're not going to help Keller, but are also not going to stop him. On the other hand, the mysterious man from the vigil secretly enters the Birch house. Eliza is in the bathroom, talking on the phone, so she doesn't realize that someone has trespassed. After doing what he wanted to, he heads over to the Dover house. Grace, Keller's wife, hears the noise coming from Anna's room and thinks that her daughter is back. The man jumps out of the window and runs away. They quickly call Loki and explain what happened. He asks about Keller, but Grace just says that he's been helping out the police. Knowing that this is not the case, Loki suspects that something is wrong and starts following Keller. The next morning, Keller is heading to the building, but soon realizes that he is being followed. He confronts Loki, who orders him to get in the car. Loki questions him about what he has been up to for the past few days, as they both know that he wasn't with the police. His answers don't convince Loki, but he still tells Keller to look after himself and Grace, as Anna would need them when she gets back. Anna's mention makes Keller angry, and he bursts into tears, saying that for 6 days his daughter would be wondering why her dad didn't come to rescue her. Seeing his outburst, Loki tells him to keep calm. After his encounter with Loki, Keller walks back home and dreams of Anna. Her memory ignites his heart, and he goes back to the abandoned apartment to torture Alex. Not being able to take it anymore, he says that he isn't Alex, and he just wanted to play. Not knowing what to believe, Keller just kneels asking for help from God. But soon he has to get up, when an alarm that he has installed goes off. He looks outside the window, and he sees Loki coming towards the building. Ordering Alex not to make a single noise, he goes downstairs and pretends to be asleep. When Loki wakes him up, Keller says that he came here to drink, and the building was left by his father. He then offers to give Loki a tour. During the tour, a miracle happens when the cashier calls Loki, informing him that the man he is looking for was just at the store. Loki is finally able to find the man, whose name is Bob Taylor. He gets to his house, but Bob pretends that he doesn't know what Loki is talking about. But his act doesn't last long. He tries to run once again, but Loki is faster and captures him quickly. He handcuffs him and calls for an additional unit to help me search. Looking through Bob's place, he finds rotten food, with flies over it, locked boxes, which, when Loki opens, are filled with bloodied children's clothing and snakes. But in the last box, Loki finds a journal with the words, "If you finish all the mazes, you can go home," written on the front. Bob is taken into custody and Loki informs the families. He tells Keller that even though no bodies have been found, Franklin and Nancy have recognized 2 pieces of clothing as Joy's. Keller goes through the pictures and finds Anna's sock among them. He breaks down into tears and accuses Loki of following him instead of Bob. He calls him the reason this all happened. He then heads back home to find his wife, Grace, sleeping and Ralph sitting in Anna's room. Ralph asks if his sister is no longer alive since Eliza believes it, but Keller is sure that his daughter is alive. He orders Ralph not to let this news reach Grace and not to give up on Anna. Instead of understanding, Ralph gets mad at his dad, saying that he hasn't been doing anything. All he does is get drunk and leave the others at home. Keller howls at him to shut up and leaves. On the other hand, Bob is in police custody and keeps drawing mazes. The officers believe that he is making a map that will lead them to the bodies, but Loki senses that there is something deeper connected to these mazes. Not having any more patience, Loki goes to Bob and interrogates him about what he is drawing. But Bob keeps crying and drawing. Tired and furious, Loki starts to beat him up, but is stopped by other officers. During the commotion, Bob manages to steal a gun from one of the officers and shoots himself before their eyes. On the other hand, Keller gets drunk and tells Alex that he doesn't know what to do anymore. At that moment, Alex finally tells Keller what he has been waiting to hear. He says that the girls are in the maze, but he doesn't tell where the maze is. To get answers, Keller heads over to Holly's place. Instead of telling her that he has Alex, he just says that he feels responsible for him running away. Over tea, Holly tells Keller that after she and her husband lost their son to cancer, they were very disturbed, but adopting Alex helped them. Keller tries to ask about the maze, saying that he sees it in his dreams, but Holly's expression remains the same. Meanwhile, Loki is going crazy looking at Bob's drawings, trying to decipher what the maze means. Suddenly, the pictures of the dead man in Patrick's basement catch his eye, and Loki is surprised to see the corpse wearing a necklace with the same maze on it. He also finds that the blood on the clothes found at Bob's house was pigs and not human. He discovers that Bob Taylor himself was a victim of abduction years earlier. He was held captive as a child and psychologically damaged, which explains his obsession with other missing children. This revelation suggests that there might be a larger network of child abductors operating in the area. Loki's partner believes that everything was Bob's doing, but Loki knows that there is something deep and sinister. At the Dover house, Grace gets a call that Joy has been found, but Anna is still missing. Believing that she might know where Anna is, Grace and Keller head over to the hospital. Upon seeing her, Keller tries to question, but she is still unconscious and the doctor also stops him. Finally, Joy opens her eyes. In that moment, we see some flashbacks of how Joy escaped. She looks at Keller and says, "You were there." At her words, realization dawns, and Keller rushes out of the hospital heading towards Holly's. Thinking that Keller has gone to the old building, Loki heads there, only to find Alex. On the other hand, Holly invites Keller inside, but suspecting that he might know something, she points her gun towards him and makes him handcuff himself. She then takes out a drink and forces him to drink it. After he is done drinking, she takes him to meet Anna, all while telling him how she and her husband used to kidnap kids, as part of their war on God to avenge their son's death. They would abduct the innocent children, just to destroy parents' faith in God, to make them suffer as Holly and her husband had suffered. Alex was one of the first ones they took, and was psychologically broken by Holly and her husband until his mind snapped. They kept him as a kind of pet, using him to help lure other children. Bob Taylor was also one of their victims. She slowed down after her husband disappeared, and it is revealed that the man in Patrick's basement was none other than her husband. She then reveals that Alex was never the culprit. He had been innocent all along. He just wanted to take the girls out in the camper van, but she decided to keep them. She shows him an opening in her backyard leading to the place where she had been keeping children from the beginning. She then asks him to get inside, but when he denies, she mercilessly shoots him in the leg and pushes him inside. After locking him up, she drives his car away. After finding Alex in such a messy state, Loki decides to visit Holly to inform her that her nephew has been found. Underground in the maze, it is a chamber of horrors. Children's belongings, evidence of multiple murders spanning decades, are all hidden down here. This is where Keller finds his daughter's red whistle and breaks down into tears, praying to God to protect Anna. Holly sees Loki approaching her house and quickly goes upstairs to check on an unconscious Anna. Finding the door unlocked, Loki enters her house and is shocked to find the picture of her husband on the kitchen counter. In the picture, he is seen wearing the same maze necklace that was found on the corpse. Realizing that Holly isn't what she seems like, he takes out his gun and begins looking for Holly. He finds her injecting something into Anna's arm. They both fire at each other. While Loki's bullet hits its mark, Holly's bullet just grazes his head. He then finds that Anna Dover is still alive. She is traumatized and barely conscious, but breathing. He picks her up and, in blinding rain, drives her to the hospital. Thankfully, they arrive on time and they both are saved. The next morning, Loki reads the paper with the news of Alex, whose real name was Barry Miller, reuniting with his family after 26 years. He also sees that Keller Dover is still missing. As he goes over the newspaper, the girls come to him to show gratitude for saving them. After the girls leave, Grace tells him that Keller hasn't contacted her, and she doesn't know about his whereabouts. She starts crying because she knows that even if Keller is found, he would go to jail for what he did. The movie ends with Detective Loki coordinating the search of Holly's property. Emergency vehicles are everywhere, evidence is being collected, and the full scope of Holly's crimes is being revealed. As Loki is about to leave the scene, he pauses. In the distance, barely audible, he hears the sound of a whistle. He looks around confused, not knowing that it could be Keller, using Joy's red whistle that was left behind. The camera focuses on Loki's face as he decides whether to investigate the sound or not. The movie ends before we know his decision, leaving Keller's fate unclear.